Dear Diary, I recently attended Gen Con in Indianapolis for the first time, and I'm excited to share my experiences. In this video, I'll be giving you my personal tips, recommendations, and some highlights from my trip. For those who may not be familiar, Gen Con is the largest board game convention in North America. This year, the event completely sold out, with over 71,000 attendees. The convention spans 4 days, running from Thursday to Sunday. Fun fact, Gen Con originally started back in 1960s, and it's been hosted at the Indiana Convention Center for the past 21 years, since 2003. Later in the video, I'll break down what I feel Gen Con is and help you decide if it's the right event for you. But first, let me walk you through my experience. I attended with my friend Bosco, and we kicked off the first day by picking up our convention badges. Here's my first tip. If you can, pay the small postage fee and have your badge mailed to you. Unfortunately, since we're from Canada, mailing wasn't an option for us. Thankfully, there were plenty of helpful Gen Con staff throughout the convention center to guide us to the will-call booths. You're experiencing this as we've experienced it. The line was comically long. We were told that early in the day, the line extended even further around the corner on the outside. Now, let's take a quick tour of the main exhibit hall. Inside, you'll find designated game areas, independent retailers, and publishers. Most of the games in the play area are available by registration, and I recommend planning ahead. Check out the games you want to try before arriving, and you can book them through the Gen Con website or app. Another large section is where you'll find the publisher booths. This is where you'll find their new games on display, and some can give you a quick demo of the games. You might get to play a round of the game to get a feel for it, but you won't get to play the entire game here. For that, you have to register and play in the designated game area. You'll also find a variety of retailers selling everything from premium dice and artwork to LARPing gear. One of the biggest attractions is the publisher's booth, where they showcase new games. Many booths offer short demos, and some even have retail sections where you can purchase games right on the spot. But Gen Con is much more than just the main exhibit hall. As you explore further, you'll find smaller rooms dedicated to individual publishers and even entire spaces devoted to specific games. The convention extends to several nearby venues, including Lucas Oil Stadium, which is connected to the main hall by which is known as Pinball Alley, a long corridor lined with pinball machines. As I continue exploring, I really got a sense of the true scale of Gen Con. There's so much to see and do. Cosplayers everywhere, cosplay competition, miniature painting, crafting LARP gear, RPG-style escape rooms, and much more. In fact, there were nearly 24,000 events scheduled across the 4 days. Now, let's dive into the food scene. The first place I want to highlight is Subito, a fantastic option conveniently located near the convention. Subito is a takeaway lunch spot known for its gourmet sandwiches, salads, and soups, all crafted using local seasonal produce. They also bake their bread fresh every morning, which elevates both the sandwiches and the soups. The name Subito comes from the Italian word meaning rapid or right away, perfectly reflecting the quick service they offer. I tried their rosa salad, and given the warm weather, I paired it with a chilled gazpacho. The rosa is a delightful spinach salad featuring gorgonzola, dried cranberries, red onions, bacon bits, and a red wine vinaigrette. The gazpacho, made with local tomatoes, cucumber, green pepper, onion, garlic, and vinegar, was refreshing with a surprising kick, likely from the raw garlic. The cucumber flavor was particularly prominent, adding to its cooling effect. As for the rosa salad, it was a real winner. The ingredients came together beautifully, with flavors and textures that complemented each other perfectly. The sweetness of the cranberries, the saltiness of the bacon, the tanginess of the vinaigrette, and the sharp spiciness of the blue cheese and red onion created a delightful symphony of flavors. The texture was equally well balanced, with the meaty chewiness of the bacon and cranberries, the occasional crunch of the red onion, and the creaminess of the cheese. The only thing I felt was missing was a bit of crunch, perhaps from something like toasted walnuts in order to contrast the tender spinach. But even without the extra texture, the salad was already quite fabulous. Another memorable meal I had was at Shapiro's Delicatessen, a century-old establishment that had been family-owned for 4 generations. We almost skipped this spot, but I'm so glad we made the trip. Chaparro's offers an array of cakes, pastries, soups, salads, and of course, corned beef sandwiches. We opted for the pastrami sandwich and their New York Reuben. If you're unfamiliar with the Reuben sandwich, you're not alone. I wasn't entirely sure what it was either. A traditional Reuben is a corned beef sandwich with Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and Russian dressing. The sandwich is then grilled on a flat top or in a panini press. The New York Reuben substitutes coleslaw for sauerkraut. The pastrami sandwich was wonderfully seasoned and packed with flavor. You could really taste the pepper and spices, which were beautifully balanced with a mellow slice of cheese. My first experience with a Reuben sandwich was a delight. The corned beef had a milder flavor, but the Russian dressing and the coleslaw added plenty of zest. The coleslaw also made the sandwich feel lighter compared to the richer pastrami. The panini pressed bread provided a satisfying crispy crunch, elevating the entire experience. What truly sets these sandwiches, and Chaparro's in general, apart is their hand-cut bread. The crust was just the right amount of flaky crispiness and chewiness without being tough. The slightly thicker slices allow the softer inner crumb to shine, adding an extra layer of enjoyment to each bite. Both sandwiches were excellent, and I rate Chaparro's above Montreal's Schwartz Deli, mainly because of the bread. However, Katz Deli in New York still holds its slight edge for me. While Chaparro's meat is by no means dry, the juicy, fatty pastrami at Katz is in a league of its own. One more spot worth mentioning is Potacho, a charming breakfast place just 2-3 minutes walk from the convention center. Over the duration of the convention, I tried their Cuban breakfast and chicken salad. Both were delicious and satisfying. The self-serve bottomless coffee provided a perfect caffeinated kick to start each day at Gen Con. Around the city. It's incredible to witness the economic boost events like Gen Con bring to the city. Everywhere you look, people are out and about, spending money and having a great time. Every restaurant was packed to the brim, and even local live theater had lines upward of 200 people stretching down the block. The pedal beer carts rolling through the streets looked like a blast, and a baseball game at Victory Field looked like a great way to spend a leisurely Sunday afternoon. I'm sure I only scratched the surface of what Indianapolis has to offer, but it was clear that the entire city was buzzing with energy, filled with people enjoying themselves and making the most of their visit. Is Gen Con for you? One of the biggest draws of Gen Con is the chance to see and try the latest board game releases. You might even get your hands on newly launched games that won't hit retailers for months. But here's an important tip. Proper research before the convention is a must. At the publisher booths, you'll often find staff giving quick overviews of the games, and you may even get to play around. However, if you want to play a full game, you'll need to register for a spot in advance. While many of these sessions are free, they tend to fill up fast, often well before the convention even starts. Getting a copy of a newly released game can also be a bit tricky. For example, I asked about a new game on behalf of a friend, and the staff explained their process. They had 200 copies to sell over the 4 days. To make it fair, they sell a quota of 50 copies each day. The daily quota sells out within half an hour of doors opening, often snapped up by early attendees and exhibitors. So if you want a shot at buying one of these games, you'll need to arrive at least 2 hours before the door opens. Beyond the new releases, there are tons of game accessories for sale, like premium dice, board game upgrades, and more. Besides the commerce, let's not forget the tens of thousands of events I mentioned earlier. There's truly something for everyone to experience. That said, if you're new to board games, you might get a similar or even better experience closer to home. I recommend trying out a local board game group first. You'll still get to play games with fellow enthusiasts, but without the stress of a tight schedule or having to travel to another city. While Gen Con showcases the newest games, there are plenty of fantastic older titles you can enjoy elsewhere without the hassle. My tips for future Gen Con attendees. Dressed in layers. The exhibit hall can be quite chilly, especially in the mornings when fewer people are around and the afternoon heat hasn't kicked in yet. I made the mistake of wearing long pants on the second day. Between walking around the convention and the humid 30+ weather, I was sweating by midday. Lesson learned. Dress in layers is key so you can adjust as the temperature changes throughout the day. Hydration and restrooms. The water and restroom situation in the main exhibit hall is less than ideal. While there are water refill stations, the water had a strange taste, probably due to the aging pipes in the venue. I've had water at several restaurants in the city and it tasted fine, so I doubt it's an issue with the city's water supply. The restroom situation was also subpar. With the sheer number of attendees and the poor ventilation, I reserved these restrooms for emergencies only. On the bright side, Lucas Oil Stadium offers a much better experience. The water there tasted fresh, and the restrooms were clean. But the real winner in terms of amenities is JW Grand Hotel. Pro tip: steal this move I saw from a seasoned convention goer. Carry a gallon jug filled with water or your drink of choice. That way, you won't have to rely on the questionable water at the exhibit hall. Open gaming area. If you need a quiet, comfortable place to play your games, make use of the open gaming area at JW Grand Hotel. The room is peaceful, the tables are clean, and the chairs are nicely upholstered, sturdy and a non-voting kind. If you're short on players, the organizers have a clever system in place. You place an orange cone on your table to signal you're looking for more players to join your game. There's also another type of cone for requesting someone to teach a game, but I didn't see any of those in action during my visit. During my time there, I had the pleasure of meeting Josh, Ryan, and Ryan's mom. We played a few games together. It was great to connect with new people and share the fun. Resting spots. I noticed plenty of people taking quick naps against walls or curled up in window nooks. If your hotel is nearby, definitely take advantage of it for a rest break. But if it's not, the JW Grand Hotel once again comes through with full-length couches where you can comfortably lie down and rest your eyes. Even their carpet is plushed and cushioned, making it a cozy spot for a quick recharge. Final reflections. Gen Con was an amazing experience, but the most cherished part of it for me was the time I spent with my friend Bosco. In the final hours of the convention, as people were saying their goodbyes, I overheard many groups saying, "See you next year." For some, they may be from distant parts of the country, and Gen Con is the only time they meet each year to play games together. Though Bosco and I live in the same city, I can probably count on one hand the number of times in the past decade that we've truly sat down and played a game together. This trip gave us the chance to not only enjoy a bunch of games, but also have some meaningful conversations. This trip also gave me a glimpse into Bosco's work life. I had the pleasure of meeting Mark and Alan, both of whom are also in the board game industry. Alan, in particular, left a lasting impression. He's a serious collector with over 6,200 games. It's not just the vast number that's impressive, it's the rarity of his collection. He owns games so rare that some publishers don't even have copies of them. One of his games had only 20 copies ever made, printed on consumer-grade printers, and kept by hand when the publisher was just starting out. The publisher, now much larger, was shocked to learn that Alan has a copy that they themselves no longer own. He even have prototype versions that were only circulated amongst game testers, and one game where all known copies were destroyed, except the one he owns. Beyond the games, Alan shares some deeply personal stories, which I won't go into out of respect for his privacy. I will say though, that his annual tradition with a loved one was truly heartwarming. Mark, I regrettably didn't get as much time to connect with you. I also missed the chance to snap a photo with you, but I'll take your offer of your French onion soup when I visit your city. Meeting Alan and Mark was a pleasant and unexpected highlight of the trip, and I hope to better know them if our paths cross again. Over the course of the trip, I also got to see a side of Bosco that I hadn't fully appreciated before. Through video calls, I saw his interaction with his kids and wife. The love and connection they share is palpable. I also saw how hard he works. Any spare moment he had, he was hustling, often working until he could barely keep his eyes open. But don't get the wrong impression. He works this hard because of how much he values his time with his family. He told me he actually works fewer hours a day than the average 9-to-5 worker because he made a conscious effort to prioritize his family life. Seeing Bosco's dedication to his family and his business inspires me. It's a reminder to chase my own dreams and passions with the same level of determination. I hope this feeling of motivation doesn't fade too quickly, and watching this video will reignite that spark when I need it most. To everyone watching, I hope you're all doing well. Get out there, chase your dreams, and find your happiness.